I'm always tired these days. I'm always tired, and it sucks. Let's do it. Let's do another one. I'm trying to get myself hyped. Let's go. All right. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to another video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla and Kong news roundup. That's right. In this video, we're going to be continuing our chronological journey through MonsterVerse news history by talking about events that happened in June of 2022. That intro covers the critiques of these videos being so old. Right now, people get what I'm doing, right? Hopefully. Roll it. Okay, starting off, let's talk about some art really quickly. This was released by Talent House. These were Talent House's final Operation Monarch fan art competition winners. I feel like they just never stopped picking winners. So many people won, but these were the final winners. And look, I understand. I see what everybody else sees. I like this art. Personally, I like all of this art. I think all of it's very cool, but I understand what people are complaining about. A lot of this art features reused assets. Kong in this poster is from Kong Skull Island, while the Godzilla, I believe, is from King of the Monsters. It might be from Godzilla vs. Kong though. In this poster, I understand that the Godzilla in the background is traced. I understand that the Kong is too. And I also understand that in this picture, it's Godzilla from the aircraft carrier and Kong for the promotional art for Godzilla vs. Kong. I get it. I get what they're doing here. That doesn't mean that it's bad art. I mean, it could just be that they used Photoshop to create this art. That doesn't mean that it's bad art. And if it is traced, as far as I'm aware, they're tracing a figure and Godzilla vs. Kong the movie or some promotional assets for the things. It's not like they're tracing other people's art. There's a huge difference between a corporation tracing art, specifically fan art, which is something we've talked about in previous videos, which is a problem, and fans tracing art for a competition. Yeah, sure, the people who put in the time to do their own artwork, they deserve some recognition as well. But that doesn't detract from the people that did this work. This is still good artwork. If they used Photoshop to accomplish it or not, it's still good stuff. And there is an art to tracing art. You can trace all the art you want and it can still look bad. You still have to be talented to make it blend as well as it does in these images. I don't know why that frustrates me so much, but I guess it's just like the Godzilla community is the most negative place to hang out, and it really just, it wears a fella down. Like, be positive, just show some support, just say good job and move on. Who cares? You didn't win, boo-hoo. And a lot of the people complaining didn't even try. They didn't even apply. So shut up, move on. If you want to complain about a fan art competition, go complain about that Photoshop thing we talked about a few weeks ago, or maybe months ago. That one was bad. They picked bad winners on that one. Like, it took no time to do the work that was chosen there. So if you want to complain, go complain about that. But leave the people who put time and effort into these things alone. They still put time and effort into them. All right, let's get on with it. Okay, starting out, we've got some figure stuff to talk about. Now, I actually don't know if I've ever been able to track this one down. I have looked for it, but I don't think I've ever been able to track it down properly. Playmates announced that they would be doing a 6-inch King Ghidorah 2019, and that is very exciting for me. I think that's very cool. Of course, the only other affordable Ghidorah figure out there on the market was the Jakks Pacific Ghidorah that was released back in 2019, and it's nice to have a companion to him. I like the new neck posings. It's very similar to that Jakks figure. This is very similar, but the necks are posed a little differently, and he's got a bit meaner of a stance. I also like the head up at the top with the tongue sticking out. That's good stuff. They, of course, include the iconic Playmates battle damage piece, which has always made me scratch my head, but hey, I've gotten comments saying that people really like the battle damage, so I guess I'll stop dinging it because apparently somebody enjoys it. Overall, I just think this is a really nice thing that they're doing. I think it's cool that they're going through the MonsterVerse as a whole rather than just touching on Godzilla vs. Kong and moving forward. I'm hopeful that they'll do more Godzilla King of the Monsters figures moving on. I will never forgive NECA for not just making a goddamn King Ghidorah. I get that it would have been expensive, but you just make it. Okay, before we get into the figures, let's talk about the history. A little bit of a history lesson. Let me take you back in time. The day is January 7th, 2022, and Playmates is holding a closed-door event to take a look at their upcoming product lines. And in this upcoming product line, our first ever unofficial reveals of Godzilla vs. Kong took place. We saw Mechagodzilla, we saw Skullcrawlers, we saw Kong with an axe, and we saw Godzilla decked out in armor. Red armor that he wears on his neck and his back. It covers his gill and it covers his spines. Everybody went, what the fuck? And then as time goes on, people do what people do, and they lie. They lie, and everybody falls for it. A long time passes, and everybody's going, what is that? Because everything else in this toy line is in the movie. Kong, of course, has the axe, skull crawlers, Mechagodzilla, all that stuff. It's all in the movie. What was that Godzilla? The movie comes out, and people are like, what was that Godzilla? And then two things happened. The first was some guy on Facebook went, yeah, I'm a VFX artist on Godzilla vs. Kong, and I totally did VFX on a scene where Godzilla dies at the end of the movie and Monarch hooks him up with a backpack to revive him, and that's what the toy was. And a lot of people were like, man, that is the stupidest thing we've ever heard. It is so good that they didn't go with that ending. And then the rest of us went, that guy's a liar. That guy did a lie. He did a lie, and it's super easy to do a lie. Hey guys, I actually worked on Godzilla and Kong, and I am here to tell you that Odaku is actually the big bad villain that brings all of the things together. Rodan has to wake up from the volcano and team up with Mothra, and Gigan shows up a little bit, but Odaku kills Gigan rather quickly, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not really Gigan, it's more of like they use parts of Amuto and cyber enhance it, and so it's like Gigan, but it's not called Gigan. They have an acronym that spells Gigan. And then Godzilla shows up and he gets his ass kicked by Odaku, and so eventually Kong and Godzilla have to team up together, and ultimately the only way they can beat him is Godzilla is thrown into space by Kong and then does like a King of the Monsters where he comes down, falls from the sky, although this time Godzilla shoots his beam up into the sky as he's falling so that he falls at supersonic speed, and then he hits Odaku and the whole world explodes, and then we're only left with the Hollow Earth, which now, because the world has exploded, it's gone from being inside to out, so now the whole world is Hollow Earth. I worked on the movie, you can trust me. I can't prove it because it would get me fired if I did, but you can trust me. And everybody just believes it. Everybody believes every fake leak and lie that people do, and some of them are very elaborate, and this one was a rather elaborate one, but those of us who didn't believe it were confirmed right like a month later when Chris over at Toho Kingdom point blanked Adam Wingard in an interview and was like, explain that Godzilla toy. And Adam Wingard was like, toy companies will be toy companies. They just thought it'd be fun. That was our answer. Playmates just thought it would be fun. It was an accessory. This was confirmed to us again for the second time in June of 2022 by our friend KDM, who confirmed that the Red Mega Godzilla, is what it was known at the time, was a second wave prototype. The first version of this prototype we have never ever seen, and it features a gray back, so it's got a gray spine piece. This red one was the second prototype, and finally, in 2022, we got it all into context as they released Titan Tech Godzilla and Titan Tech Kong, featuring Godzilla with a blue spine backpack. So there was your history lesson. But oh my god, that's right. Titan Tech Godzilla. And we all thought Ruby's was the king of the castle in terms of the dumbest Godzilla merchandise you could imagine. But here we are, Titan Tech Godzilla and Titan Tech Kong. The Titan Tech Godzilla is less egregious than the Titan Tech Kong, but I am in love with both of them. I think they're the funniest things on earth. I think they are so stupid, but I love it. I think it's cute. You know, I'm sure a little kid who doesn't think much about these movies, he's gonna look at this thing and go, that's cool. It's Godzilla with armor. That's awesome. It's Kong with armor. That's cool. He's not gonna think about it and be like, that's the stupidest thing I ever saw. Nice blade on Godzilla's arm, and oh god, it's just so weird. So Playmates also released an instructional video telling you how to put this thing together, and it's got like 700 steps involved with it, so good luck trying to figure it out if you're a little kid. I mean, of course, the parents can figure it out. For those of us who have developed brains, it'll be easy, but it's a lot for a kid to handle. At least it's not like a Transformer. At least it goes better than the Transformer toys I grew up with. Same thing with Kong, and I just gotta say, this is the coolest Kong has ever looked. Look at that axe. Look at the way it's all decked out in gold. It's all blinged out. It looks so beautiful. And look at the drip, guys. I've never seen a Kong dripping so hard before. Those sunglasses are amazing. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This reminds me a lot of that King Kong cartoon that Netflix did, where they just unironically had Kong with a jetpack. This reminds me a lot about that. And he had like Wonder Woman deflector gauntlets and stuff. Good stuff. I love it. I think it's hilarious. These are the Titan Tech Godzilla and the Titan Tech Kong. They're released at Targets for between $20 to $30, depending on where you're able to find them or when you were able to find them. And they're incredible. Playmates also released a trailer for these guys, a commercial for them that aired on TV and YouTube. And I I just gotta say, toy commercials were better when we were kids, right? They were better for us, right? They weren't always this bad. They at least had sets and some production value instead of just whatever I'm looking at here with the green screen and the very limited effort put into this. I mean, right now, I could go make a better Titan Tech trailer. I'm not gonna because I'm lazy, but I could do it, and it'd probably just take me one day. One day as one guy doing it, and it would come out better than this. I've seen a lot of people not rolling with it on this one. They are not vibing with this one. They are not happy about it. They think it's really stupid, and I just gotta say, guys, Godzilla toys have always been really stupid. And like, when I say always, I mean always. Going back to the 70s. The Shogun Godzilla with the weird fiery flappy tongue, stupid. You know why it's stupid? Because he fires his hand off like a rocket. That was like the very first popular Godzilla toy ever in America. It was dumb. It's a dumb toy, and I think it's fine for toy companies to make dumb toys. I think it's okay. It's fun, it's stupid, it's silly, kids love it. The Shogun Godzilla is iconic nowadays. I think me calling it dumb is going to be a controversial statement. It's iconic nowadays. And I would say down the line, the Titan Tech Godzilla and the Titan Tech Kong, they are going to be unique enough to stand on their own 20 years from now in ways that the normal Playmates Godzilla figures will not. I cannot believe how long I rambled on about the Titan Tech Godzilla and Kong. I'm gonna move through the rest of this stuff quickly, even though that's the stuff that we're all here for. Next up, and I know everybody cheers whenever I mention their name, Hiya Toys revealed their 6-inch Kong, which is an articulated figure. It looks great, looks really fantastic, has 16 points of articulation, and runs you $39.99. Quite expensive given that you also have to pay for shipping because these things do sell overseas only. But he looks gorgeous. The axe looks gorgeous. This is probably the best axe we've seen. It might be better than Monster Arts' I can't totally tell from these promotional photos, but it looks incredible. Kong looks great. The sculpt looks great. The paint looks great. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is the heads. I do not like the roaring head, and I'm not a big fan of the grimacing head either. Although I think the grimacing head is really, really cool, neither the grimacing head or the roaring head look like the Kong from the movie. The only head that looks like the Kong from the movie and also looks a lot like the Kong SH Monster Arts is the mouth closed Kong. That being said, he looks incredible. I totally get the love for it. I missed it. I would love to grab it, but I missed it. It's already, I think it's gonna be way more expensive if I were to try now, and I have no money. So I'm not able to get this guy, but it looks good. I would love to get it, and I'd love to check it out and review it, but maybe someday down the line, not right now. Now, we all know this. You and I already know this. Everybody knows this. I've talked about it in previous videos. You have all known it for like over a year now, but Legendary confirmed for the very first time, Legendary themselves, I'm talking the company, Legendary confirmed for the very first time at Licensing Expo 2022 that the MonsterVerse sequel was officially in development. This leads to a Godzilla and Kong production update, which was posted by KDM. This update was posted on June 24th, 2022. Set construction was underway at Village Roadshow Studios with filming to begin soon. Casting for actors, crew, and extras had already started and was open to the public. All casting was done via agencies, so no independents were allowed to submit, and it was mostly Queensland agents only. The reason they do that, as I've said in previous videos, the reason they want to cast extras and other talent who isn't main stars in-house is because if you're flying somebody in from America or from America to Canada or from Canada to Australia or wherever, if you're flying somebody from overseas, they're going to need a place to stay, they're going to need a per diem, and it's going to get much more expensive the longer they're there, and it's not worth it for an extra or for a bit player who's not a main cast member. So that's why they do it the way they do it. We do have a look at what those crew inquiry postings looked like, so you can check it out here. And you could just submit for what you wanted to try and apply for on Godzilla and Kong. KDM teased Kaylee Hoddle would return, posting a snippet from an interview he had done with her like a year before. We've talked about that interview before, so I'm not really going to dwell on it, but yes, we all know Kaylee eventually did confirm that she signed back on to reprise the role as Gia. Great stuff, amazing decision. It would not work without her in my opinion. We needed her back if we're bringing Kong back, so good stuff. And then we have a picture of Village Roadshow Studios, which had set construction underway for Godzilla and Kong, and you can see that they have the big Godzilla vs. Kong poster up on the side right there. very proudly displaying that they had housed that movie and were now working on the new one. Finally, Legendary officially confirmed the release date for Godzilla and Kong, which is the working title, for those who don't know, the working title for the next MonsterVerse movie, which doesn't officially have a title yet. Its other working title is Origins, that's its actual production title. Its onset title for the cast and crew was Godzilla and Kong, and it was officially announced to the trades as Godzilla vs. Kong 2, or the sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong. So we still don't know what the title of the movie is going to be, which is why I call it Godzilla and Kong. But the official release date for Godzilla and Kong is March 15th, 2024. It's too early for me to do a speculative guess about how things are going to shake up in March 2024. I don't know what movies are going to be releasing alongside of it. Maybe I'll do a deep dive the closer we get to it to see how does this movie really stack up against its March competition and how's it going to do. If I had to guess, it'll probably do pretty well. The MonsterVerse tends to do pretty dang well in the March time slot. Kong Skull Island came out in March and of course is the highest grossing film of the MonsterVerse to date, and Godzilla vs. Kong came out at the tail end of March and was also incredibly successful. Kong Skull Island came out March 10th, 2017 and had fierce competition of its own, and Godzilla vs. Kong came out at the tail end of March in 2021 and also had a pretty decent amount of competition immediately follow it, as it was the movie that kickstarted movies coming back to theaters. So I'm very curious to see how things go here, but I think the March time slot makes the most sense for me, and in my opinion, spring is owned by the MonsterVerse. The MonsterVerse has spring locked down a way that no real other franchise does. How do you guys think Godzilla and Kong is going to do in March? Do you think that's the right call? Have you guys already done the spoilery look ahead? It's not spoilers, but I haven't done it myself. Have you guys already looked ahead to see what the competition for March is going to be like? What season reminds you of the MonsterVerse? For me, it's spring, specifically in March, just because of Kong Skull Island and Godzilla vs. Kong, but how about you guys? What do you think down below? Are you guys May people, like Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters? That would make sense too. Alright, that'll do it for this one, guys. I know we spent most of the time talking about some toys, but there wasn't a ton else to talk about, and it was fun to dive into those toys because they're very fun. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon for helping keep the channel running. It really does mean a lot, and truly their support goes a very long way. So thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you want to support the Patreon, you can using the link in the description below, where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. And that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out.